Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over 24 books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our mastery through missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. Mouth. This week we're talking about the Seville conference! Woohoo! But first, what are your wins and whinges of the week that aren't to do with Seville?
Well, there's some that are not to do with Seville, the conference, but Seville, the place. Because I am never coming home. I live in Seville now.
Oh.
It is my dream city. And I say this because I'm here in April, not in summer. And in summer, it's known as the frying pan of Europe. It is like 45, 50 degrees here in summer. I would be dead within like 1 minute of landing here. So Seville in spring is my favourite place in the world. And I didn't know a huge amount about it. And bizarrely, my uncle used to live nearby. He used to live in Granada. And bizarrely, I kept missing the like family trips people would take to go to Seville, and I'd never been here. And then I got it, like an Instagram reel came up that was like about Seville and how wonderful it was. Like, oh my god, it does look wonderful. And then like 2 days later, someone's mentioned the Seville conference. That is a sign.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do much research because like I'm just here for a relaxing holiday. I just want to like after the conference read books and sit in cafes. I'm not looking to, I thought about booking some trips. I looked at some trips. Like, I just don't want to do anything. I just want to relax. And then I landed on the plane and I landed and got into Seville maybe 10:30. And in like the 5 minutes walk to my Airbnb, I passed like a dozen beautiful buildings. Every building here is a palace or a castle and just exquisite. I can't even, I've been places, like I've seen a lot of Europe, and this is hands down like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. It's stunning. And it's, I mean, that's the like time of year, it's constantly like 15 to 25 degrees is lovely. And then and also everything is open to midnight, which is my favorite sort of place. And everything was in 5 minutes of my apartment. So I had to go out and get some milk, obviously, when I arrived here at like 10:30. And I'd been showing my Airbnb, so maybe 11 o'clock by then. I had to find some milk. Couldn't find any milk. I passed 5 different gelato shops within the 5 minutes it took me to find some milk. And I was like, this is my town. Which I got some gelato. I got mango and chocolate gelato, and it was maybe the best gelato I've had in my life. And I spent a lot of time in Italy.
Yeah.
It was so good. I've been sampling all the gelato there is, just to do a thorough search. I also had some churros today. I've been having like beer and tapas in the park. I'm living my best life. I've been to the like ancient baths here. Had a massage. They were so good. I'm going to ancient baths again just before my flight.
Oh my god.
I am living my best life. I'm living the best life that there is on earth right now.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Oh,
All wins.
I'm so
How's your
jealous.
week? I'm so sorry.
My week has been the longest week known to man. I don't understand what's happened. Time has slowed down. And nothing's happened. It's just, I just don't even know. It feels like a year since we last recorded.
Yeah.
As I was doing the intro, it felt so unnatural. Like, when was the last time I did this? Obviously, it's only 2 weeks ago.
Wasn't even 2 weeks ago. Wasn't even 1 week ago.
No, but
Right.
I didn't do the intro last week.
Oh, okay.
So the intro.
I mean, just being on the podcast feels like it's been forever, but that's because I've started a new life in Seville.
I feel insane. But I've also had like a good week with like editing, and all my editing is finished, and I've been writing today and doing loads of admin stuff. So going very well. My whinge is that my writing doesn't feel as exciting as it usually does. But that's because I'm on the third book. And as we all know, I'm a first book person, and anything after that is just a struggle. So I really had to force myself to write today, and I almost didn't. And I put my laptop away. I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to write. And then
But you're coming straight out of editing. It's so hard to transition between the
yes,
two.
it's
That
difficult,
just feels
and
like walking through mud.
it feels just uncomfortable to be kind of still have one foot in the editing, because obviously the book's still got to come out, so I'm still trying to remember what happened in that book, and then also trying to write something new. It all feels very jumbled up, and but when I started writing, because I thought, I'm not going to write, I'm going to read, and then because I love procrastinating, my brain was like, actually no, don't read, write. So I tricked myself into writing, and it was really good. It had a really good session, but yeah, I just feel a little bit out of sorts. But I do have a week off coming up next week, and I say a week off. I am writing, but I'm having a week out of my regular life, which is fun.
Okay.
So not really wins or whinges, just mediocre, just getting by. That's it.
I do have a slight whinge, actually. I was going to say, someone posted in a group that I'm in, maybe today or yesterday, it's 7 weeks till SBS. And I was like, why are all these conferences so close together?
No.
I'm not ready. I've literally just finished Seville.
Yeah, I haven't booked anywhere. I haven't done any of that. I only just started thinking about that. And I have found some places on Airbnb which I just need to decide. But I can't, because I've got a week coming up next, not this week, the week after, where I'm away. I can't think past that.
No.
And I'm just not the sort of person who can pre-book stuff.
I've got 2 retreats before then. I was like, that is not soon.
No, that's even worse. No. I'd never plan it if that was me. I'd be like, I just have to just show up on the day and hope for the best.
We don't need to plan it. It's fine. I'm going to book some train tickets. That's fine. I'll do that. But also, they'll get refunded anyway, because all my train tickets are going to get refunded because everything's so delayed. So it's irrelevant how much it costs because it will be free.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and I'm staying with a friend who already knows I'm staying with them. So yeah, I'm sorted basically. But it does feel like that's too soon. The conferences are too close together. Because I literally just went to Ireland and I was like recovering in time to get to Seville. And now SBS. Also weird that all my conferences are starting with S's this year.
Oh, yes.
Because even SBS is like on the South Bank. So it's like everything is an S location. Shannon, Seville, South Bank.
Freaky.
Suspicious, I would say.
Obviously, the best letter, obviously, is S.
I am obsessed with you. That's why I chose all these conferences. Yes.
What does it remind me of? What do I think about? It makes me feel so good.
I've got a lot of
mindset.
That is full main character energy. So topic of the week this week, I'm still in Seville, relaxing after the conference, which for anyone who's looking to book it next year, it's actually called the Global Publishing Summit, which abbreviates to GPS, so it's actually quite hard to search for. So just do various searches. Global Publishing Summit, Seville. They won't update the website until like 2 weeks beforehand anyway. Join the Facebook group. They are very Spanish. They're incredibly super relaxed about the schedule for things. Like they told us the actual conference schedule maybe like a week in advance. You could buy tickets maybe in February. I don't know. I booked my Airbnb and my flights ages ago because I was told the dates. And just thought I don't want to be scrambling last minute for those things, which is how I've got a very nice Airbnb. But yeah, it is relaxed. But if you want to be aware of it, find some information on it. Global Publishing Summit. So the conference was on Thursday and Friday. It's now Sunday, which feels like already the conference was ages ago, but I'm going to try and cast my mind back and talk about what happened. I'm actually going to start from the end because my favourite part happened after the conference, when I was so fired up and inspired that I found a stationery shop and bought all new stationery. I'm going to show it on camera just in case anyone's watching.
Sorry, everyone.
I'll describe it.
Yes,
I'll describe it for anyone who's just listening.
We're showing people.
4 different plastic wallets. 2 sizes, two pairs of 2 sizes, which contain 2 different sizes of index cards. One set of index cards is for ideas, and blank cards are in yellow, go cards are in green. And the bigger index cards have little written scenes or descriptions. Blank cards are in white, go cards are in green. And I feel so excited and so ready. And it was also a bit of an adventure to get to the stationery shop because obviously it being Spain, it was only open for 3 hours in a day. Nothing in there had prices on. The staff there maybe seemed like they were just hanging out, not working there. I don't know. Took a while, but everything was only €10 that I needed. And I felt so like active, and I've got it in my bag wherever I'm going because I'm on holiday. This is my only holiday this year, is in Seville. I have got various writing things to do, so I'm doing a little bit of rewriting on a book one, and I'm starting some kind of thinking about the characters I haven't spent this month doing. But this just having this in my bag just means I can pull it out, make a little note while I'm eating tapas, having churros, enjoying a beer, just make a little notes and then put it back in my bag, and it just feels so luxuriating in my favorite part of writing. So yeah, I mean, new stationery. What can't I do?
Yes, exactly. Unstoppable.
Yeah. Which in fact, I got some new stationery after my first SPS. I think I got like a whole new planner. So that is a
Yeah.
sign of like a conference where you're feeling ready to go. Like life is changing when
Yeah.
you've got new stationery.
Oh, because you know that when you get a new notebook, it's for new ideas, and as soon as you get a
Yeah,
new notebook, you think like this is it. This is going to change my life.
yeah.
This one notebook.
Can't
This is
tell
the
me
one.
nothing.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
this is the one that I'm going to fill with the biggest and best idea that I've ever had.
yeah,
So it's such a good feeling.
yeah.
I love
So
that.
that is the impact of Seville. Um, and then the conference as a whole, like looking back on it, I would say this is going to sound like I'm damning it with faint praise, but the actual main benefit of it is that it's in Seville, right? Like you get to go to Seville.
Yeah.
And because actually, like the conferences, so someone was mentioning recently, like, oh, SBS has got a lot of the same speakers as they had in Ireland this year. Is it necessarily worth going to lots of conferences? And really, I think, there's only so many around Europe, and they do often have the same people speaking. Like one of the talks that I went to at Seville this year was from Susie K. Quinn, and I know she gave the exact same talk of Ireland, but in fact, because they had two streams, I didn't watch it live, and I like watching a talk live is so impactful, so much more than watching the video because you actually pay attention. And so I really like that I got to see it live, but also that I have the recording from Ireland to go back and watch, and I have gone back and watched it because it was such a good talk. So I'll talk a bit more on that in a minute, but so it is, there is repetition, and the Susie Quinn's talk was a repetition. Someone else's talk I did watch in Ireland, and I watched it again here. Though, in fact, the one in Ireland, it got a bit derailed by questions, so it was actually quite useful to see it here. So there's some repetition. Some of the talks here, the people who run the Seville conference, it's a publishing company, but with a focus on film more than just books.
Yeah, I thought
So there are a
that
couple
when
of
I
talks very
saw the
filmy.
schedule. Yeah, the
Yeah,
schedule. There was like a lot of film kind of stuff and scripts and all that stuff
yeah.
and how to get into the industry, which is fun but feels weird. Do you feel like did it
There were a
feel
couple of those in
weird?
Ireland as well. I think part of it is the people who were talking in Ireland were both people who had been in the film industry, and the film industry is in decline. And they were like, so then I just decided to become a novelist.
Mm.
Um, so it didn't feel weird. Partly, I think some of the talks, it looks like there's more talks on one topic than there is because there's actually two streams in Seville. There's a Spanish stream and an English stream. So if
Yeah.
there's four talks on something, actually probably need two in the English stream. There were definitely actually quite a lot of AI talks in the Spanish stream, far more than the English stream. I didn't, watch them. Obviously, my Spanish is not quite that good. Nobody tests me on how good it is, but it's just not quite good enough to watch talk live. Um, so yeah, so there were a lot of talks that I hadn't seen. There were some that I wasn't interested in, like the film one. I'm really not interested in. Like, it's interesting in that like sometimes the talks you're not necessarily super looking forward to is the one that hits. Um, so there were a couple ones that were really good that I wouldn't have thought from the name, like, oh, that's the one to listen to, but it sort of stirred something up in me. But as I say, if you're going to multiple conferences, as I am this year, you're sort of going to reach a stage where, there's a couple of repeats, there's a couple of topics where you think like, this is not for me, and maybe you only get a couple of talks that feel very relevant. And the thing about Seville that's very different to Ireland, I would say like the polar opposite, is like the networking. In Seville, you're almost like forced to be friends with everyone in a way that is useful. And it's very Irish, right? Like they really want everyone to be connecting, to be spending time together, to be sharing ideas. And it's facilitated very well, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It feels like a lot, energetically, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable, but it feels like that's the big focus of the conference. You get a lot out of that. In Seville, nothing. You could go and not speak to a single other person, and that would be very easy to do. I met some people who I really enjoyed spending time with, and I really got a lot of talking to, just because I walked in behind them at the conference, and I was like, and I don't know anybody else coming to the conference. I walked in behind them, I was like, you guys look like authors, am I in the right place? And that was it. Two of them were the only other vegetarians there, so we hung out
We're
together so we could
best
get
friends.
vegetarian food at quite a meat heavy conference.
Mm.
I would say the lunches were provided, but they were like mostly meat and wine. I drank a lot of wine, and
Yeah.
there were there was like a whole wine table with multiple types of wine available, and all of them were nice. There was even something that was maybe a sort of sherry that was delicious. There were just so many drink options. Like, it's the polar opposite of any like catered English
Yeah.
situation. It was delicious. Anyway, so just from walking behind them and me like forcing my way into their friendship group,
Yeah.
I hung out with people, and they're people who, like, one of them was a cozy author, one of them lives in the UK and was absolutely lovely, and her husband who works in the business, and like all of them I really appreciated getting to spend time with, and I think it was very useful and interesting, and they were the sort of inspiring people that you love meeting at conference, who just make you see like the future version of yourself, nice to talk to. You can have a little bit of a chit chat and like gossip behind the scenes about things, so great. And then both times after the conference, both days, you could go to a nearby bar. That was it. There was like, you can go to a nearby bar. Some people will be there. Um, and it happens that like I sat down next to somebody who was the support, like the wife who runs the business for one of the speakers. I didn't know who she was, but she seemed very friendly. We got chatting, got on really well, was absolutely lovely to speak to. But that's it. I really spoke to 4 people the entire conference, which is so different to Ireland. And was nice, I probably didn't have that much energy after Ireland. But so it felt like the polar opposite, but I've eaten so much gelato. I've had so much sunshine. And I needed that. And so I think it is useful to think about, like, what do you need right now? I'm not taking another holiday this year. Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
retreats, I'm going to conferences. I don't have another vacation. And I've purposefully made my trip a week rather than, in fact, it's 8 days rather than 2 days for conference, to make myself have a bit of a holiday. And so I would come just to go to a conference, a bit of a holiday. And also some of the talks were just really what I needed to hear right now. And yeah, I met some great people, but not in the same way that I did at Ireland. Not in not quite in the quantity I did at Ireland.
Yeah. And I guess, like, for a lot of people, because that would put me off if I thought that I was going to go and not speak to anybody. Although, to be fair, I wouldn't go on my own anyway. So this isn't like, maybe not for everyone like me, but it sounds amazing because of the place. But if that was in the UK and it had that kind of vibe where nobody was really like talking, or there was no facilitation of the social aspect, which is like, obviously I've only been to SBS once, but the social part of it is it's like mega, that it like everyone puts so much
Ireland is
effort into
even
it.
more.
And yeah, and I can only imagine that Ireland's even more. So that's like a very different vibe, isn't it? Even though like they're so, I guess maybe it's because they're so relaxed about everything. They're just like, if you're gonna make friends, you're gonna make friends. Have some
And
wine.
I think the Spanish stream is smaller, and I think Spanish people are naturally, friendlier than English people. And not everyone was English, like people are flying in from lots of places. But I would say probably the largest group of English speakers probably were from England, and we're an antisocial group. I think I am unnaturally willing to talk to strangers, because I live by myself, spend a lot of time by myself, and I'm happy just having a chit chat with a stranger, especially when I'm never perhaps going to see them again. So if it's awful, who cares? But I can imagine a lot of people, if that was your first conference, it would have been awful, like really hard. If your first conference and you're really like not happy to chat to a stranger, you would have come away not really speaking to anybody. Which maybe is fine for some people, but like definitely a big part of the conference for me is like networking people and just like meeting people in real life who you get to see as like different versions of yourself. Like it's one thing to kind of see people's names or even hear the speakers like actually talk to people and just like, oh, you're a real person and you're where I want to be. That feels very different.
I'm going to be like really, really woo-woo here and say it's when you come across those people who are doing the thing that you want to do, it's kind of like, it feels very like kismet, that you are in some ways, like if your paths are crossing, there might be some drag, some gravity, some kind of like cosmos thing where your world could be changed just from interacting with these people.
I think it is true, because actually looking around the crowd, I love staring at people watching. There definitely weren't like other cool people there that I was wishing like, oh, I wish I'd sat down next to them. No, it was quite an older crowd compared to other conferences. And quite a lot of people who just like sat in pairs or ones. It wasn't like there were, groups that were really vibing, getting along. Which again, fine. I think a lot of people are there because it's in Seville and it's nice to be in Seville. And I think there were a lot of couples like who'd come, on a holiday. In fact, the other people I spoke to, I chatted to outside because the conference is in quite a, it's in a museum, so it's quite cool in there. It's kept quite because it's temperature. So when it was sunny, people would go outside and be like, "Oh my goodness, the sun! I haven't seen this all year." And I got chatting to a couple who lives, I want to say in Latvia. I might be misremembering, but somewhere like that. And they were going to the ancient ones. I had looked up online and seen and not quite decided between. They were like, yes, definitely go. So I booked that. And they were talking about, because they'd been the year before. So like a little bit of chatting, but it just felt like there was not much gathering opportunity. Yeah. Also, I'm going to make a real complaint about this.
Okay.
The food service was very Spanish. And I'm going to sound the most English person ever. So you'd like pick a table, and your table had some various like cheeses and meats on it. And then they would bring around foods on a plate. And there might be more meats and cheeses. It might be a mini burger. It might be a little bit of a wrap. It might be some vegetables. There are a lot of cold soups, which is fine. I like trying a cold soup. Not for me, but okay. And it was just like random bits of food. And it's like, I don't know, do I need to eat a lot of this or a little bit of this? Is there better food coming? I felt
Oh, no, yeah, like food roulette is...
Especially as a vegetarian.
I hate
Yes,
that.
it was a food roulette situation. Especially as a vegetarian, like we really had to like flag down staff and be like, please bring us some things that are not... There's like a whole leg of ham there. Like, please bring us things that are not meat. And the staff were lovely and like really made the effort to like find the not meat food and bring it to us. But yeah, I could have done a little bit more like food security.
Yeah.
It dominated a lot of my thoughts. And everything was so late. The first session was like, guys, we're going to really make sure everything runs on time. We are so dedicated to this. Like, nothing's going to run late. The very first session, 20 minutes late. And then just constantly after that, there's no timers. No one had a watch on them. Someone asked, like, oh, how's my time going? Have I got more time? The like organizer was in the front row, being like, yeah, you got time. She was already 10 minutes over time. Like, it was so relaxed at times. So that also a bit of like, and again, it sounds so English, but like a bit of like, what's going on? Like, where I need to know, are we on time or are we not on time, people?
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
Yeah, that's panicky because I'm the same. If you don't know when it's going to end, when will it end?
Yeah.
Like that's worrying to me.
And there were like breaks, or quite regular breaks. There was like a long lunch break, a morning afternoon break, and there's just no sense in which you knew like, when am I going back in? You sort of had to wait for someone to, like, the mood to change. It felt like you're like in a herd of gazelles. You're sort of waiting for the vibe to change. You all went in.
Yeah. That reminds me of, this isn't what it'll be like for everyone, but that's how it felt at school for me. Where I didn't understand the schedule at all, and it always felt unnatural. So I don't like the idea of that, because it sounds like school where you're like, we're just gonna wait for the bell. I don't know.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was not like school, because school definitely does run on time. This is the opposite of school.
I know, but to me, I never really understood
time. Yeah.
how it all worked.
But it felt like a cultural experience, right? You're like, we're definitely in Spain right now. Where like time has no meaning. Food just comes on platters, and like you get how much you get, but there's a lot of wine.
Yeah,
that was an interesting approach to a conference.
Imagine being like a meat eater who doesn't care about time. Perfect.
You describe all Spanish people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine you're Spanish.
Yeah, that's true. That is the Spanish version of everyone. I'll eat anything, and who cares what time it is?
Time is a concept, like it's a construct, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yes, it felt like it was, it took a lot of settling into. But it's only 2 days, so I'm glad I came for a week around it and like had a holiday around it. And I've got to like and see at the start of a holiday of like, I'm easy breezy, I flow with the time, I eat when food comes. I'm not, obviously,
Spanish,
but like it's the start of my holiday vibes. So I'm aware there's a very like unimportant and like idiotic niggles, right? And like, but this is my real experience of being here. Is like those were things that made me think like, I like the item was on time and that the food was like plentiful.
Yes.
And very available. So yes. But it's in Seville.
Yeah.
I can't state this highly enough. It's so beautiful here. And so I'm here for a few days. Yesterday, I just had a relaxing day, and like I made myself relax, and I kept on reminding myself to relax. So I'd got the spa books, like the baths. There's like maybe half a dozen different baths there, and a massage for an hour. I had them booked at 9 a.m. the day after the conference to be like, I'm fully on my holiday.
Mhm.
Then I had a meal that was like all the carbohydrates. I went to the stationery shop and I came home for a nap. And then I read. That's my whole day after the conference. And then today I've been wandering around sightseeing, eating churros, like drinking beer. Lovely. So it's a good holiday location, and the conference really eases you into that holiday feeling
Mhm.
while you listen to talks. And there were some incredible talks, like absolutely
Yes.
the talk I needed to hear right now.
Yes. So tell
So
us which ones were the best ones and which ones were the ones that you didn't think you were going to be interested in, but you were when you
mhm.
heard them.
Yeah, okay. So these are my planner pages like I did last time, and I put little
Mhm.
stars on next to things. And looking through them, there were definitely fewer stars. There's some pages where I
Yes.
wrote a
Yeah.
lot down, because it was kind of useful to process it, but there wasn't an action point. Uh, yeah, I think there were a lot more talks here where it was like a thinker rather than something to act on. So one talk where TJ Green talked, and she had spoken at Ireland, and the talk she gave in Ireland was like really full of practical action points. And this one was one that I think I've seen a video of her give before, and it was a bit more conceptual. So it was like, oh, it's useful to see both different talks. The one in Ireland was more suitable for where I'm at right now. The conceptual one was a bit like, I've thought about these things recently, so it's not for me, but I can see how they would be useful for. Um, there was one on AI tools, and it was interesting in that I know this person spoke last year, and everyone was kind of blown away with the tools he mentioned. And this year, the couple that I spoke to, I think had been last year. Like, yeah, it was more impactful last year. This year's ones just felt like, yeah, there's a couple of tools that I haven't used recently. I'll try them again. It's kind of useful to get that gauge on where AI is. Like, it's, you're probably keeping up with stuff right now. Like, there's nothing that you maybe haven't heard of significantly. One thing he definitely did recommend was Meta AI. And so Meta has its own AI tools, and you'll have seen like the terrible version of it when you're trying to make ads and it makes like a variation of a graphic, which is the worst thing you've ever seen in your life and looks like a nightmare made it. He was like, no, not that. There's a different tool called Meta AI, it's Meta.ai. Or I think it's Meta.ai, I'll put it in the links. But there's a whole different like free AI tool that is very good. And it does better than everything the graphics and expected to improve. And another thing that is part of Meta AI now has been acquired by them is called Manus, which is very good at analysis, looking at KDP reports, looking at sales insights. So I'll put that in the link as well. So both those are ones that I haven't really looked into. I hadn't heard of Manus. Um, and then he was also recommending Perplexity, which is like an aggregator of different AI tools. Again, is like it's come on quite a long way and worth another look into if you haven't used it recently. So I'll put links to those in the show notes. Um, yeah, Meta AI was recommended for book ads, social media ads, video hooks, and it's all for free. Then there's a really good talk actually by Rachel McLean. She's talking at SPS about avoiding burnout. This talk was a really like single topic talk about using a newsletter rather than social media. So she's talking about like post social media marketing basically. And there was nothing wildly innovative in it, maybe for me right now, because I think I've done a lot of looking into my newsletter recently, but I can definitely see how you would have found that talk useful if you had not really spent time considering your newsletter. There were things in it that I'm not doing, right? Like I'm miles behind where she is, but there was nothing in it that I haven't considered. I just don't have the time or effort or energy right now to think she's doing. Um, did you have anything else that was useful? No, as always with Rachel McLean, she's just very good at data. So a lot of things she said was like setting things on certain days to track data and keep data clean, but that's not for me. Again, I'm just there right now.
I love the idea of that because I know, like, when you're looking at your stats and you don't know what's impacted what.
Yeah.
But I just that's too clean girl aesthetic for me, and I am chaos monster.
Yeah, and also I think there's not a huge amount of like benefit to be gained from keeping your data that clean if you don't have a huge amount of data anyway. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, whatever.
that's not worth my time. Yeah,
No.
compared to other things I could be doing. But it was useful just like have it in the back of your head, sort of churning away somewhere, so to come back for it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it was a really good talk, and she was very, yeah, she'd really thought through and considered the talk. So I always appreciate talking about Rachel McLean, and I'm looking forward to seeing her talk in London about burnout. A couple of talks that I felt like weren't super relevant. The talk that absolutely was like designed for me. Thank you for putting it on, Seville. It was one that was also on in Ireland, but I missed it. It was Susie Quinn's writing best-selling characters, and I'm literally about to start
Yes.
taking a month off to work on characters. And I've written a whole page of notes on this, and nothing with a star because it is all concept stuff. And she talked to Ireland. I would say for me, it would be worth getting like the Ireland digital ticket to watch that talk because her talk was very like a really well researched, thoughtful talk about like how to make good characters. And what I loved about her talk and the one that followed it was she was like, I'm up here, I'm a best-selling author, and you might be thinking, you know, of course you're good at characters. You're a best-selling author. She's like, I used to be atrocious at writing characters. She put a lot of reviews on the screen of like all the reviews just like rubbish characters. This person's an idiot. Unbelievable characters. 2D. Didn't care for these people. Never want to read these again. Like all really vicious critiques of the characters she's written. And she's like, and it was right. I was not writing good characters because I wasn't thinking about it properly. Then she's like, then I went and read 1,000 bestsellers and analysed them all and thought about the character archetypes, which if you want to do more research into this, you can look at it. It's like Jungian character archetypes, and looks at how those appear in films and TV and books and things. I'll put a link in something that I found that's a good image of it, if I can find that again. Yeah, and I think the thing that was really interesting that she said was like, the thing that has helped her most is auditioning characters and getting the groups of characters that work best together. Because she's like, you might have all of them are good, but then they're just dull together. And you try and force them into a book, and you get halfway thinking like this book's terrible. But it's like it's not. It's because the characters don't belong together. You need to go back and replace one of them, which is horrible. But she's like, but you wouldn't like film a whole Hollywood blockbuster without doing chemistry tests, because like some people can be like they're three good actors, but when you put them on screen together, they just don't gel. And you've spent like hundreds of millions on this for it to be garbage. And
Yeah,
if you
and
just
it
put them in a room
is.
together at the start, then
Yeah,
you'd see how they work together.
and it is funny because I actually just watched a film last night where one of my highlights of it, which when I was talking to Brian about why it was a good film, it was because of the group of characters. And I said I think that like it was such a good group that really sold it for me. That's what made the film. And I never realized that that's something. I mean, it's something that everyone thinks about, but it's also not something that a lot of people probably try and figure out. Like, why?
Yeah.
I just thought there that was a good group of characters, but now I'm thinking like maybe I should be thinking why.
Yeah.
Why is that okay? I'm learning vicariously through your notes.
Yeah. I think that talk, 100% I'm going to go back. And I've already watched part of the talk that I wanted to kind of solidify my mind from the Ireland conference, but I am going to go back and watch the whole talk from Ireland multiple times because I think it's what I need to be focusing on right now. Because I think in my head, like I said this a while ago, I wanted to take a month off to work on character because like in my head I was like, I feel like I'm not getting characters right. But I think it's actually maybe not the individual characters. I'm just not like, I'm not making characters work together. I'm not thinking about them as a group that is like creating experience for readers. I just let them like come as they fall. I'm like, well, those people are here. They've on the page for a reason, I guess. But it's like that's too woo for me. I should be more like more methodical about this.
Yes,
But yeah, that
I
was
understand.
phenomenal. Yeah, I looked online. Because I wanted to see if I could find a link to something else to like get some more ideas about this from Susie K. Quinn. I couldn't find anything. She's been on various podcasts, but not talking about this exact topic. I know she does have a course that she's done for SPS that is about characters, but I don't know how much of it the content is the same. It's a paid course, and I haven't got it myself. So maybe have a look into that. But I would say her talk is good. She does talk a lot about like writing best-selling books. She's done a lot of podcasts where she talks about things. So I will put her name in the show notes if you're not familiar with her. yeah, I think worth having a look into what she's talking about if you're interested in working on character right now. And then the talk that followed it was a last minute replacement. Someone brought in because someone else couldn't be there. And I would say it was like the talk that got everyone buzzing and was like gasps amongst the audience. So the author, I don't know how much she used her real name versus pen name, so I'll just use her pen name right now. So it's Deanie Ray. Gave a talk. The title was something to do with best-selling ads. In fact, let me have a look because I've got the thing in front of me. It was behind the scenes of a high-performing Facebook ads machine, which sounds like it could be anything. But it really was behind the scenes. She had done no slides because she was brought in last minute, and she'd literally just come from the New Zealand mastermind conference. So that literally just finished. She had flown in from that last minute replacement for someone. And the behind the scenes was she just plugged in her laptop and showed us all of her dashboards. And she was like, here's how much money this book made this month. Here are the ads that I did for that. Here's how much I spent on the ads. Here's how I tested the ads. Here's my ads process, the different types of ads I run and how much money I put into them. And she had come straight after Susie Quinn, and she was also saying, I spent about 8 years not making money from my books, or like fundamentally for many years not making money from books. And like 8 years in, I was really not still getting anywhere. And I've looked into Deanie Ray recently because she this year, so we're in April 2026 now, she this year has like shot up the charts. She's been around for a long time, but her books, like she's got an entire series, book 1 to 7, is consistently in the top 50 of cozy mystery, which is a competitive category. So I was like, I need to figure out like what she's done. And what she's done is spend a lot of money on Facebook ads with very successful books. But her talk was so what I needed to hear. She was just like, for years, I wrote books that just like they didn't hit. And I've also recently looked into like her back catalogue because I was trying to figure out like what is this series that is doing so well, because I saw her talk in Ireland. I was like, what has she done that's different with this? Because when she was talking in Ireland, she was saying, you know, again, she was saying like, oh, I had a long time of not really being successful. And then I figured out like, oh, I love Janet Ivanovich, who writes kind of like sassy, funny, sarcastic, not quite cozies. And she's like, and I was like, why don't I just write a series like that? And that's what she did. And I'll put in a link to both these authors so you can see their work. So in Ireland, she had said, you know, oh, I really decided to like make a change to the book I was trying to write so I could be successful. I thought I could write these sorts of books. I thought I could be successful at it, and I did it. And then in Seville, the talk she was giving was like, I spent a long time working on like books that I just didn't really go anywhere. And then I found through ads testing, I could make this series sell. And I tested these ads and I found a graphic that absolutely blew those out of the water. And I got up to spending enormous amounts per day. And I'm not going to give figures. Like she was very, very open with the figures there, but not in a way that she necessarily wants everyone to be talking about. But spending enormous amounts per day. And just like, and she was really candid about her experience. She's like, I should be spending more, but I can't, like, where I'm at right now is probably my emotional limit of what I can spend per day. And it's a lot. And she started this in January. And like, that's why her books suddenly seem to have like shot up the charts, because they have. Because in January, she found a winning ad and then increased the amount of money she spent on it very quickly, dramatically. And it like paid off, brought in huge amounts of money. And it's been working for months now. And that was just like exactly what I needed to hear, especially after seeing her on Ireland. And one of the things she said there was, you have to learn like year 1 maths before you can learn year 8 maths. You can't just learn year 8 maths. And she's like, there's things that if I'd heard about them or thought about them when I was starting out, I wouldn't have been able to use them or do them like that. I couldn't do what I did to be successful at the very beginning because I didn't have all the tools. And I spoke to her after the conference and I was like, oh, it feels like I'm like where you were a couple of years ago. It's like, I feel like I've had, you know, years of just like trying different series and like trying different things and not really getting anywhere. And she's like, yeah, you just need to keep learning more maths.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Which was really useful to hear. And both she and Susie Quinn were like, I used to be bad at this and I just kept going.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear. That they're the stories that I am just forever. I'll never get tired of hearing it. I'll never get tired of
Mm,
hearing people say, "I just kept going,"
yeah.
and effectively say, "You just need to keep going as well," because at some point you'll figure it out. You'll learn the
Hmm.
maths, and you'll find the
Mm,
right series, and it'll be the right time, and that's what I need to hear more and more. I just
yeah. And I
need
think
everyone to tell me
sometimes,
that.
I think a lot of the people who talk regularly, like a lot of the noisy boys, um, they're coming from such a businessy background that they're often like, I found the business hack.
Yeah.
Like, I found the way to make people buy the books that I could put out.
Hmm.
And I feel like both Susie Quinn and Deanie Ray were both like, I found the right books.
Yeah.
And that to me feels like the important thing that like I am looking for.
Yes.
Which is not
Yeah.
necessarily like the path for everyone, but like that's where I sort of feel a bit like that's the next step I need to make
Yeah.
is have the books that will resonate enough that they will sell well enough. Not find like
100%.
the next Facebook ads tip.
Yeah, like I know it's not a scam to treat it more like a business. It's not a scam at all, and that is just somebody else's approach to something.
Mm,
But my approach to something will always be led like again to be like so schmoozy woo woo has to come from the heart. And I have to be in love with the whole
yeah,
process. It has to be something that fulfills me in every way. And if there's even one part of it that doesn't feel nice, that's like a surefire way to get me to not want to do it. And I can't ever
yeah,
get to that point where I think where it's so much like a business that I've lost the joy
yeah,
for it. And I don't mind that other people can just do like a
yeah.
business, because some people are just good at stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
just not me.
Yeah, and I think I for a long time like I wanted to be like that, and I just like I need to be more excited about my books, and I can't be
Hmm.
excited about the books that like I, I don't know, like I'm the books I'm writing right now. I'm just not excited enough about them. Like I think they're good, but they're not exciting.
Hmm.
They're not something like I'm desperate for somebody to read. Um, I watched a Instagram video today from Sterling K. Brown, the actor, and he was talking about like having this like literal mantra of like what he's doing with his um acting, like from when he was at university, and he's like, I want to entertain and educate and there was one more thing that I can't remember what it was. To do like making it better. Is that with E as well? So I've forgotten what it is. But entertain and educate were I think two of the ones that really resonated with me. And I was like, I feel like I don't see myself as like being out there doing something that I'm like
Yes.
making the world better with.
Yes.
I'm always just like doing this small shy thing,
Yeah.
um, which doesn't feel exciting.
Yeah. It's funny because I think I've thought this recently, and it's always something that comes up again and again, which is like a fake conversation that I have with somebody, or a fake interview that I'm having.
Mhm.
But I also hear other people talking about it, and it's like when people get asked the question, "Why do you write? What do you want your books to do? Like, what do you want? How do you
Mm.
want your audience to feel?" And those are questions that stump me every time because I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Like I know somewhere in my body what the answers are to those questions, but I don't know how to verbalize those, and that's
yeah,
like a missing piece that I think
yeah,
well maybe that'll just come with time, but it's like to have a mantra where you can say like I'm doing this because I want to do this and this, and I want this to be the outcome.
mm.
Like to have those like such a clear thought about what you're doing is like
But I think that has to come from
that's
like you feeling like there's a possibility of being able to do that. And I think
yeah.
that is why we're both making ourselves small at the moment. Is like,
Hmm.
I couldn't possibly say like, oh, I really want people just to have like a fantastic time when they read my books because like
Yeah.
that's like saying, oh, I really want to be, like such a good singer that people weep when they hear me sing. Like I'm just not that good a singer. I'm a good singer, but like that's not where I'm at. And I wouldn't even necessarily, know where to start training to get that good at singing. And so it feels like at the moment I'm trying to shape my why.
I have given people goosebumps from my singing. in the past. I am that good.
Um, yeah, I don't think I think I'm just good. But I think it feels hard to find your why when it's
Yes.
like it feels like lying. And we've had this conversation so many
Yeah.
times. Um,
Yes.
and I don't know what the solution is right now, but it
Mm-mm.
feels like the solution is it's like write a book that I feel really excited about. That's definitely part of it. Like a book where at least I can
Yes.
say this is like a book where it's so full of twists and turns. Like you
Mm-hmm.
absolutely will not believe. I'm reading a book right now. Oh, I cannot express how shocked I was today by a twist. It's a reading Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, uh, which I've read other Karen Slaughter in the past, like ones that were more sort of policey and standardy thrillers. And I saw this one recommended a lot, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. I'm not having high expectations. I've read a couple of Karen Slaughter's. They were really good. She's a very, very good writer. And like you got through them, you enjoyed them, forgot them instantly. This book, there were so many twists. But the twist today, I was in like an outdoor restaurant, sat at a table in a park. I genuinely was like looking around, like what, what? Like looking at people who were like equally shocked as me. I couldn't look back at the page for like a solid minute, and I was like, I cannot believe this
Oh,
twist. I need to tell someone about it. Like, ah, I'm still now think about it. I cannot believe it.
I
Like
love that. But that's
yeah,
such a good book experience. I think
yeah,
that's such a good thing to be reading right now because I feel like we're both on the cusp of something. And I think we always probably say this. We feel like we're always on the cusp of something. But now more than ever, like this time I mean it. This is the one. This is
it's
the
on.
final document that I'm saving.
I think it's interesting. Like this time, I was trying to read as a writer because
Hmm.
um, I love a psychological thriller, and I want to write. You know, at least the start of psychological thriller at the moment because I want to work on character. That's why I want to the genre I want to choose for it. Um, and so I was reading it, really trying to look for like what's coming, and I was maybe 60% of the way through, and they can essentially solve the main mystery. And I was like, what could possibly happen from that? Like, is it going to be really boring end of the book? And then the plot twist that like I cannot believe I didn't even consider it. Not for a
Is
moment did I
this
consider this. And then as soon as she told me, like, of
is
course,
the book version of Revenge? She'd been
yeah.
watching Revenge and she's like, I can do that.
Imagine Revenge, but it was like really well written, and it's got such. I guess like, Revenge is like fun, it's like
Yes,
fun
but
and
it
silly
is.
and a
Yeah,
bit
it's
camp.
also
But like,
slightly trash. Yeah.
yeah, this is like that, but not trash. And not like the fun
Oh,
campy trash. Yeah, I was looking back at it today because one thing I really like to do with books that I think work very well is like use the sections of it as like a model. So you take a paragraph and be like, oh, for the first line of this is like it's following a particular pattern, like it's got a setting description with 3 adjectives in, and then it's got 2 people described. Then it's got a sentence fragment. Like follow that pattern for a paragraph, and try and rewrite it in something that fits in your story. Just to see like what's the impact of that, how does it make you feel about that setting, and then write it in like a very very similar situation. So the beginning of the book starts in a bar. So I wrote it set in a restaurant with like the character setting that I wanted, and then I was like, I'll take it further and write it set in the situation I actually want to start my book in. It was so impactful, and there's so many good sections of that book where I was like, I want to go back to that, and like the way she describes characters, and it's such a light touch of like beautiful specific. She'll have like a 1 sentence description of a character that it's it's like you're being flashed with a bright light. And like like lightning, well, it's gone instantly, but it
yeah.
lingers with you, and you don't
Yeah.
stop reading, but you're like, I feel like I'm full of lightning reading this book.
Mhm.
So good. And also such a good reminder of like your writing gets better and better, because definitely Karen Slaughter books that I've read in the past were like very like incredibly competent and like very good at what they were doing, and top of the field for like that sort of book she's writing, like a good police procedural. um and this is something else entirely. This is like a book you want to recommend to, like a book you want to recommend to absolutely everyone you know. And I'm not even finished with it. I'm going to read it after this. I'm like 70% of the way through. Oh, I can't wait. Even if it ends
We're
terribly, I
having.
don't care because I've had so much enjoyment of reading it so far. Genuinely a minute of like looking around in shock, being like, please, is someone else reading this book right now? I need someone else to look me in the eye and be this shocked.
We're both having very opposite reading experiences right now because I'm still reading a book that's taken me so long to get through, and
Oh, give
I
up on
even
it. I
got
hate this book
to
for you.
no,
I know
I'm
you're trying
at
to learn from it, but
90. I'm learning from it. I'm at 90 something percent, so I literally have like maybe one or two chapters left, even though literally should have just ended already. But it has these things where it has the big moments that have happened. I have skimmed over, like I skimmed over the big romance plots when they got to a certain point. I was like, I don't care. So I already, I just skimmed through it, and I got to like the twist. There's like a couple of twists at the end. I'm like, this is so obvious. It's not fun to be that obvious. So it's like, I like that you're learning the good stuff, and I feel like I'm learning, and it's not bad because other people like it. The writing is good. It's just not capturing me, and I'm learning why. Like, why did that reveal not feel like a big
I
reveal?
would 100%. I know this isn't a genre that you're necessarily, regularly reading, but I would 100% read Pretty Girls. The characterization in it is phenomenal, and like I've just finished the writing on the line level course by CC Lira, and the line level writing on this is exquisite. Like it's so voicey, but without being annoying. And like in a subtle way, like you constantly get the character's attitude. When you look back at the page, like, oh, it's been very descriptive of action and place. Like it feels very factual, but there's such good like subtle bits of opinion slipped in that it is just delicious when you look back over a page. Like, how did I come to that belief? And it's lovely to see like places where there is no judgment and it leaves a space for the reader to put a judgment in. And you're like, I think I know what the character thinks here, but they don't say the words, and it's doing that like we talked about before, like Jennifer Lynn Barnes, like leaving that space for the reader.
Yeah,
It's just an absolute masterclass, this book. I'm loving it as a reader and a writer, which you so rarely get to do at the same time.
Okay, I am adding it to my Kindle right now.
I think it's actually in KU.
It probably is. I don't have KU, so I can't read fast enough for KU. I'm such a slow reading phase, which is fine. Okay, yeah, I've added that to my list.
Okay, yeah,
because I want to see
to anybody.
Yeah, I want to see some good usage of twists and characters.
Yeah. Yes. So just to get back to Ireland, no, Seville.
Seville? No, you've been all over the place.
Yes. So the last main talk, there was a round table at the end that was just a really nice kind of wrap up of how authors think and feel, which is lovely, but fine. But the last main talk was from Luke Richardson, who writes archaeological thrillers, which is not a genre that I really read, but I always think it's interesting, a bit sort of Dan Brownie, it was his wife I got to the bar, and she was all the fun holidays he gets to take and all the places they get to go and visit, and like
fantastic idea.
Delightful.
I'm gonna write archaeology books and then just go
to glamorous places. But kind of what he was talking about was it was interesting. It's not a thing that I think I'm going to do what he does. And I think some people took his talk as like, here's a blueprint of what you should do. It was more that he was like an inspiration of like, here's how I think about my readers and where I take them in relation to my books. So his thinking was all about like, buying the book is the start of the journey, not the end of the journey. We're often thinking about like how to market to a reader to get them to buy the book, because like that is like $2.99 purchase, $29 for it, whatever. That can't be the end point, because there's readers who, if they love your work, they want to be so much more involved. And he's like, what you need to be thinking about is like, once someone's got into that journey, that's step one. Or like layer one, you have this kind of concentric circle model. It's like, that's layer one. You want to be bringing them further and further in. And not everyone's going to come further in. Some people just stay in the outer circle of like, I just read the books. But the next circle in is something like, I regularly read your newsletter. The next circle in is something like, I'm in a group with you. Like he's got a WhatsApp group that's part of his Patreon. And then the next group, super involved, he is taking people on like expeditions, which is like
is he going
amazing.
On cruises? But that makes more sense.
No, but like there's a lot of mystery authors do things like that. There's like a mystery train, there's mystery cruises. But yeah, he's taking readers on like short, fun-sounding expeditions with him, which is great. And so some people are like, oh, that doesn't suit my books because I write YA books. And it's like, well, then don't do that. But think of something that works for your audience. And he was very generous with like help with people who weren't necessarily asking the most helpful questions. But yeah, and he had some other good like smaller ideas of kind of here's other content you can be doing to get people into your world. Just talking about in fact here's interesting, like when he's writing his newsletter, you're saying he writes it in not a very newsletter way, he writes it like a letter. Like not a lot of graphics, a lot of text, just as if he's writing to a friend, which works for his audience. Right, so it's like not necessarily everyone's, but like he'd really thought about all the things like that, wasn't taking anything for granted. Um, and he messages very regularly, so he emails minimum once a week. And and yeah, has a whole group that like WhatsApps about their adventures that are going on. It's just like wouldn't want that for me, but interesting.
Yeah, it's because it's such a niche interest, isn't
Yeah.
it? That I can imagine a WhatsApp group is like the new Facebook group, but it's like a better Facebook group where people can just go and chat about this one specific thing, send pictures to people about this is what I found, and
So they
it's
are
so
all like adventure
specific.
people, and I think that's what's interesting
Yeah,
is like for my readers, what they were sharing is things like maybe here's what I baked this week, here's my pets this week. And it's like that's interesting, but like I am high learner and input, and like I think I realize that what I don't love about being in groups with like readers is like that's often the thing they're sharing because that's kind of that's our shared point of interest. There's nothing for me to learn from that, so I struggle to engage with it. Whereas for him, like everyone's on an exciting adventure. They're all sharing where they are, like plans they're making for their trips they're going on. That would really engage me as high learner. So it made me think like, can I approach my like reader interaction a different way that would engage me and engage everybody? I think mystery readers are probably quite generally high learner by input because you want to detect things.
yeah,
Um, and I just need to be thinking a bit more about that. And like he is really like no blueprint, trying to learn from other industries like YouTube content creators who are like the video is just the start. The video is like nothing. Getting someone
yeah,
into look at your content is like then you want to be in brand partnerships and again like taking them places, doing experiences, doing more interactions with them. The video is the beginning and the book should be the beginning. And that was fascinating. I think not a
yeah.
thing I'm gonna do anything with right now because it just like felt like not my priority at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But you can imagine that if I'd heard that talk at a different time, that would have been like the talk for me because he really was um, engaged and excited about the topic. So yeah, lots of different talks. I think the second day was much better than the first. The first day was a bit like, oh, this was just some chat from various people, and they were nice, but like a lot of them could have been a podcast. Whereas the second day, I felt like there were several in a row that felt really inspiring, and you wanted to be in the room. So great, man! It's in Seville.
In case you didn't know, everyone, it
Yeah,
was in Seville.
yeah,
So
sunshine and
yeah,
gelato.
yeah. Fantastic. So so you feel like you got a lot from it and you're also in
Mhm.
Seville and that's really good to do. Just a final question. Do you feel like the questions themselves, because I remember you saying for the Island conference that there was like it was very question based and a lot of
Mm.
people, because of the small groups and how it was set out, it made interacting and asking questions easier. Did this have the same thing? Were people asking a lot of questions or was it not that kind of place?
Interesting. Someone had said to me, like, oh, what they loved about Seville last year was it felt very interactive. And like, if the speaker didn't know something, the audience could kind of talk in it. And someone did try to make the talk very interactive and it just got derailed. And the organizer was like, actually, can we just get through the talk? No, because everything was so late. There was never any time for questions. There was often like time
Yeah.
for a couple of questions, but I think it felt like the pressure of the time being late felt like, oh, I won't ask anything unless it's, directly on topic. Otherwise, we should be getting on as a break or as lunch or it's time to go. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like um yeah, there wasn't time left for questions. That felt like it was a missed opportunity maybe.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, but then
That's
it's just a different
always
sort of
next year.
conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Um.
think because it felt small, I don't know how many people there were, but there were maybe in the English stream 100 people. It felt like you could go up to speakers more. And like I chatted to Dina afterwards. And everyone was at the drinks and things. So yeah, it did feel like you could have gone to ask someone something specific, but I think in the Island conference it felt like the questions were for the room, like you were sort of building an understanding for everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas here didn't really have that vibe,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's in Seville, so
But it's in Seville, yeah. Do you feel like you have said all you need to say about this place, Seville, that you were so have hardly mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Tomorrow I'm going to the food market. There's a whole food market outside the river. I'm going to
Oh,
seek out some anchovies in butter that I've had previously in like a tin, like a
oh,
very gourmet
yes.
tin fish thing. I found a shop that hopefully will sell them, but also I'm going to the food market and just eat food all day. So yes, that is what I'm going to say. Is if you never see me again, it's because I've moved to Seville.
Yeah, fair enough. So next week, unfortunately, we're not going to be part in Seville and talking about it, but we are going to be talking about launch plans and how we're changing our thinking around these. What has inspired this topic?
Um, I don't know. I wrote that question myself when I was thinking about it earlier. It's like, we do need to remember this. So I have got a new CEO's coming this year, and I realised recently, like, oh, I haven't thought about it at all. I haven't thought about how I'm going to launch it. So that's part of it. But I think you've had also thought about, you've got a book 3 coming. You've got another series that you could launch at some
book
point.
2 coming, a book 3
Oh,
coming,
yeah, but
a
that's
relaunch.
very soon. Yeah.
Yes, it's just a topic definitely that I want to have a better handle on. I do feel like every single time I'm knee-jerk reacting to like, oh yeah, and I'll do this, and I'll do this, and yeah, I feel like if we have a good conversation about it, it will feel more
Yeah.
like
It'll force us to
cemented.
look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's what I need. Okay, well, I look forward to talking about that. And everybody who is listening, if you have enjoyed this and you want to pay for us both to go to Seville next year, you could donate some money to our coffee. There is a link in the show notes, and you can donate a couple of pounds or a bit more, whatever you want, and buy us tea or coffee or cake or a ticket to Seville. You can also join us in Discord, where I'm sure we'll be talking more about Seville this week, and also about other stuff that is coming up for the Pen to Paycheck Authors podcast.
Yeah. Exciting times.
Yeah, lots of fun things coming. Thank you very much, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.